The movie starts by providing a short narrative about Cleopatra and Mark Antony on the day they got married. Mark Antony gifted Cleopatra 3 exquisite golden eggs adorned with jewels, representing his deep affection for her. Following their demise, the eggs were concealed for countless years and considered nothing more than legends. However, a farmer stumbled upon 2 of the eggs at a later time, while the 3rd egg remained concealed, shrouded in secrecy. In the contemporary era, an individual is engaged in crafting a duplicate of one of these eggs in Rome. Special Agent John Hartley teams up with Interpol Inspector Doss at a museum in their pursuit of the notorious art thief, Nolan Booth, following information provided by an anonymous source known as the Bishop. Their investigation leads them to speak with the museum director, who guides them to an exhibition where one of Cleopatra's eggs is showcased in front of a crowd of tourists. Hartley conducts a thermal reading of the egg and cleverly uses a can of Coke from a child to reveal that the displayed egg is a counterfeit, indicating that someone else possesses the authentic one. As Doss orders the lockdown of the premises, Booth emerges from the crowd and makes a daring escape with the real egg. The guards give chase, but Booth manages to evade them by scaling scaffolding and causing it to collapse. Hartley confronts Booth, resulting in both of them plummeting out of a window. However, Booth skillfully slides down a nearby slide and disappears into the town. He quickly mounts a motorcycle and attempts to flee while Hartley gives chase in a car. Unfortunately, Hartley's pursuit is abruptly halted when his car is struck on the side by a Gelato truck, allowing Booth to elude capture once again. Several days later, Hartley tracks down Booth in his residence in Bali and summons additional agents to apprehend him and secure the stolen egg. While the team takes Booth into custody, one of the agents discreetly substitutes the genuine egg with a counterfeit one. Upon returning to Rome, Hartley finds himself at a bar when Doss locates him. She presents the egg, which was replaced and subsequently shattered on the floor. In addition, Doss informs Hartley that an $8 million wire transfer was made to a Swiss bank account under his name, leading her to suspect his involvement in the egg heist. Despite Hartley's protestations of innocence, Doss proceeds to have him arrested. Hartley is transported to a Russian prison where he discovers that Booth is his cellmate. Realizing that he has been framed by the Bishop, Hartley seeks answers from Booth. Booth reveals that whoever possesses the 3 eggs must deliver them to an Egyptian billionaire before his daughter's wedding in exchange for a payment of $300 million. They are aware that the 2nd egg is currently in the hands of an international arms dealer named Sotavosi. The opportune moment to retrieve the egg from Sotavosi arises during one of his extravagant parties. Shortly after their conversation, Booth attracts attention by loudly proclaiming to the entire cafeteria that Hartley is not a real cop. This leads to a confrontation with a formidable inmate named Drago Grande, who challenges Hartley. Despite Hartley's attempt to avoid trouble, Drago swiftly knocks him down in front of everyone. The guards intervene and escort Hartley and Booth back to their cell. The two are brought face to face with the Bishop, only to discover that she is the undercover agent responsible for replacing the eggs. She reveals that she has transferred money to an account in Hartley's name and boasts about being one step ahead of Booth in becoming the world's top art thief. The Bishop knows that Booth is aware of the location of the 3rd egg and offers to release him with a 10% share. However, Booth adamantly refuses to cooperate. As a consequence, the Bishop orders the guards to assign Hartley and Booth to rigorous manual labor, while contemplating a plan to clear his name. Hartley takes advantage of his time working alongside Booth. Within their cell, Hartley inquires about Booth's father, recognizing him as a Swiss police captain, and ponders how his son could have turned to a life of crime. Booth describes his father as an unpleasant individual who prioritized work over his own child. When Booth mistakenly believed he had misplaced his father's cherished watch, his father refused to speak to him for a whole year until it was eventually discovered hidden behind some paperwork. The duo puts their plan into action as Booth tosses a bar of soap into a cleaning solution, causing it to explode. In the ensuing chaos, they fight off the guards and seize an opportunity when Booth swipes a badge off a guard during Drago's attack on Hartley. Booth successfully boards a waiting chopper while Hartley races across the bridge before the guards detonate it. As Hartley struggles to climb up the bridge, Booth unleashes the chopper's machine guns on the pursuing guards. He takes off, but just as Hartley manages to ascend and leap into the chopper, the guards attempt to launch a missile at them. However, Hartley skillfully redirects the missile, causing it to strike a nearby mountain. With their escape secured, they flee the scene. Meanwhile, the Bishop has a captive agent in her office, using him to send a decrypted message to Doss, alerting her that Hartley and Booth are now on the loose. The message also serves as an invitation to Sotavosi's party. When the captive agent triggers an alarm, the Bishop swiftly incapacitates the responding agent. She threatens the captive agent, forcing him to fabricate a false account of the incident, or else she will target his loved ones and expose his darkest secrets to them. Booth seeks assistance from his contact, Tam Boy, who picks up both him and Hartley and takes them on a plane bound for Sotavosi's residence in Valencia. Booth devises a plan to access Voshi's safe, which requires his thumbprint and facial recognition. Booth equips himself with the necessary technology to bypass these security measures. The duo arrives at the masquerade ball, disguising themselves to move unnoticed among the attendees. The Bishop is already present, prompting Hartley to dance with her to avoid suspicion. However, Sotavosi notices their presence and, driven by jealousy, interrupts their dance. Seizing the opportunity, Booth discreetly swipes a glass containing Voshi's thumbprint before he and Hartley make their way towards the safe. Despite encountering some clumsiness along the way, they eventually locate the safe. However, their progress is interrupted by Doss, who confronts them at gunpoint and orders Hartley to arrest Booth if he truly is aligned with the law. Hartley manages to disarm Doss, and together they enter the safe and lock it. Surprisingly, the Bishop has already infiltrated the safe and engages in a physical confrontation with the two men over the possession of the egg. At that moment, Vosi enters the scene, revealing himself to be in cahoots with the Bishop. They render Hartley and Booth unconscious and take them captive. The Bishop resorts to brutal interrogation methods, using electric cables on Hartley to extract information regarding the whereabouts of the third egg in a desperate attempt to protect Hartley. Booth finally gives in and reveals that the egg is located in a pyramid in Cairo. Just as it appears that Vosi and the Bishop are planning to depart together, Vosi suddenly collapses due to the Bishop spiking his drink, allowing her to escape. Vosi regains consciousness but experiences impaired vision. In a disoriented state, he fires wildly at Hartley and Booth. Fortunately, they manage to break free from their restraints in their attempt to flee. They find themselves in a bullfighting arena. Hartley endures a few blows from the charging bull, and Vosi tries to shoot at them again, but gets knocked out by the bull instead, granting the duo an opportunity to escape. They find refuge aboard a train. Booth confesses to Hartley that he lied about the location of the third egg. Initially furious, Hartley nearly throws Booth off the moving train until he relents and pulls him back in. At that moment, Hartley opens up to Booth about his father, a con man who disappeared from his life when he was just 13 years old. In return, Booth shares some historical information about the third egg. It was originally acquired by a Nazi art collector named Rudolf Seich, who concealed it along with other stolen Nazi artifacts. Booth later discovered that the cherished watch his father treasured so much was, in fact, a key to unlocking the safe where the egg is stored. The duo arrives in Argentina and discovers a hidden passageway leading to a massive vault filled with numerous stolen artifacts. After locating the third egg, the Bishop, accompanied by Doss and a team of agents, arrives at the scene. A fierce shootout ensues, followed by a thrilling chase through the caves in old cars. During the chase, the Bishop and Doss struggle to gain control of the egg, but Booth manages to retrieve it. As they drive their car out of the cave and over a waterfall, Booth realizes that Hartley is missing. Worried about his partner's safety, Booth attempts to dive into the water to save him, but to his surprise, Hartley emerges unharmed. The Bishop swims to shore, and just as it seems Hartley is about to arrest her, they unexpectedly share a kiss. They then reveal their true alliance, disclosing that Hartley was working alongside the Bishop all along. They are a couple who orchestrated the entire egg heist from the start and used Booth as a means to lead them to the third egg. Leaving Booth handcuffed to a tree, they make their escape. Hartley and the Bishop proceed to Cairo, where a billionaire is hosting his daughter's wedding. They present her not only with the 3 eggs but also arrange a special musical performance by Ed Sheeran. However, Doss and her agents crash the wedding, arresting the billionaire and even Ed Sheeran, who attempts to fight the guards. While the chaos ensues, Hartley and the bishop discreetly slip away, having already secured their payment for the heist. The couple, Hartley and the bishop, find themselves on a boat when they are unexpectedly confronted by Booth. He reveals that he tipped off Doss about their scheme, resulting in their entire $300 million haul being frozen in their accounts. Booth presents them with a proposition to join forces on an even larger heist, offering them a chance to avoid arrest. Reluctantly, Hartley and the bishop agree to the plan. Meanwhile, Doss and her agents arrive too late to apprehend them, and they return to Doss's office, issuing a red notice on all 3 criminals. The trio then arrives in Paris, where their next ambitious target awaits them, the renowned Louvre Museum.